Hi guys, it's ASBYT, and the Samsung Galaxy S20, S20 Plus and S20 Ultra all launch on February the 11th at the live Unpacked launch. 3 devices and 3 big reasons why this changes everything for Samsung. I'm going to be going over the range in pretty much all its entirety, specs, design, colours, etc. and I'm going to be going over the big shift this year. So without further ado, let's get straight to it. Firstly, I will be going to the launch and I have plenty of S20 content in the pipeline ready for that. And if you want to know anything, let me know in the comment section below. And of course, click that subscribe button if you want to see those videos on launch. Oh, and if you're a Samsung fan, click that like button as well. Apologies for the wink. You don't deserve that. So in super speedy Samsung fashion, what's the dealio? What's going down? What's launching on February the 11th? As I'm sure you're already aware, there will be no S11 this year. It is the S20, S20 Plus and S20 Ultra. They are the 3 devices in the range. Of course, we will have 4G and 5G variants, but 3 core devices. And this is the first change. Last year, we had the budget option in the S10e and the 2 premium options in the S10 and the S10 Plus, separated only really by the size of the device and the subsequent larger battery in the Plus model. But this year, Samsung have kind of done away with that, and looking at the leaked prices, it's like the budget option has been dropped. The leak from Poland suggests the S20 will retail for a starting price of circa 815 euros, the S20 Plus just over 1,000, and the Ultra at a mouth-watering 1,400. So we'll have 2 premium models and a kind of super elite top tier model as well. Now there's no denying this Ultra model is going to be incredible, but I feel that Samsung have missed a bit of a trick here. The popularity of the kind of budget flagship has skyrocketed amongst the average consumer. So while I like the idea of having an Ultra S20, and while the standard S20 price isn't astronomical, I wish there was still a budget option as well. Am I right? Let me know in the comments. Would you want to see a budget S20 model as well? Now, apparently those who pre-order can expect shipping by March the 6th. And Samsung do recommend, if you want the Ultra model, that you do pre-order because there are limited supplies. Now, you would expect Samsung to say something like that to sort of boost up the early sales with the device. Wait and see. The potential for 5G will be enabled using separate 5G modems not integrated in both the Qualcomm Snapdragon 865 and the in-house Samsung Exynos 990 SoCs. Which version you will get will obviously depend on the specific region you're from. And the naming of the new Exynos chip is an interesting one, considering it matches exactly the numerical figure of the latest Huawei Kirin chip. Of course, apparently the fact that none of them will be integrated 5G modems is a bit of a shame because they tend to be more power hungry when they are separate, but again, that is the same for both chips. Samsung did launch the Exynos 980, which does have an integrated 5G modem, but it's about 20% less powerful than the 990, which is probably why they went with the 990 for this range. Now, traditionally, the Snapdragon variants have outperformed their Exynos counterparts like the ones we get in the UK, most notably on battery life, for example, but the early information we've received this year would suggest that it's going to be a much closer fought battle this time around. So this could be another big change for markets that do get the Exynos chip. Both are made using the 7nm process this time around, and the improved Mali G77 GPU will also improve graphical performance and power efficiency by up to 20%. Early leaked benchmarks suggest a slightly higher single core for the Exynos chips, but certainly higher multi-core for the Snapdragon. Full SoC comparisons will come on launch. It's another wink. Just stop winking. What's wrong with you? I just love you. What can I say? Now, one of the big hypes about the new S20 series is the refresh rate on the display, and the Snapdragon 865 can allow up to 144 Hz, which is higher than the Exynos chip, which tops out at 120, but both variants are going to have a 120 Hz display. I'm not complaining. That on a Samsung display is just going to be incredible. No 2 ways about it. There will be an upgraded fingerprint scanner within the displays, although the exact improvements have been unconfirmed, again due to the 2 different chipsets. We know the Snapdragon 865 enables much greater accuracy and a significantly larger workable area, but not as much has come out about the abilities of the Exynos version to do with the fingerprint scanner, so therefore they may decide to stifle the Snapdragon variant slightly so that it is in keeping with the Exynos. Equally, the Exynos' ability in this scanner area may be as good, it's just not come to light yet. Now, Samsung over the last few years have been accused of small, non-dramatic incremental upgrades, but this year is looking like real change in the battery department and in its camera. 4,000, 4,500 and a whopping 5,000 mAh on the respective models. Now, before we get all giddy, remember they are powering a 6.2, 6.7 and 6.9 inch WQHD Plus display, respectively. And again, these are all at 120 Hz refresh rate. Now, one of the great things about Samsung devices, you can downscale from Quad HD Plus down to Full HD Plus. It will be the same on the S20, and you're going to be able to do so also on the refresh rate from 120 to 60, again, if you want to conserve battery. And one huge change with the range, that rhymes, is camera, like I said, and the Ultra is going to have a pretty much completely different setup than the standard and the Plus model. And again, this is something we really haven't seen before from Samsung. They often drop a lens here or there or slightly tweak the megapixels, but very, very rarely. But the S20 and the S20 Plus are going to be pretty similar. The Ultra is going to be Ultra. So the only difference between the S20 and the S20 Plus is an additional time of flight sensor on the Plus model. Outside of that, we've got the same 12 megapixel main lens, a 64 megapixel telephoto lens with 3 times optical zoom and 30 times digital zoom, and a 12 megapixel ultra wide angle lens. Now, all of that sounds pretty impressive, but in terms of video, we have 4K at 60 frames a second on the front to match the likes of what we've seen from the iPhone, and I will be doing a full camera comparison again on launch. And we have 8K at 30 frames a second as well. Where do we need it? Some would argue yes, some would argue no. Let me know what you think. Now, that 4K 60 frames on the front of those two devices comes from a 10 megapixel camera. On the Ultra model, we have a 40 megapixel front camera, which is the first upgrade the camera setup sees on the Ultra model, and the rest of it is pretty mind-blowing. So instead of the 12 megapixel main wide lens, we have a 108 megapixel sensor. We've seen something similar with the Xiaomi Mi Note 10, which I did a review on, and I was very impressed with certain aspects of it, but software-wise it was a bit laggy, and hopefully Samsung can do something a bit better. But it doesn't stop there. We also have a 48 megapixel telephoto lens, which has the capabilities of up to 10 times optical zoom and 100 times digital zoom. Again, whether you need that is debatable, but still, to see them push this boundary and really increase and improve this camera setup is a big, big change, something we haven't seen from Samsung over the last few years, where the camera setups have been all pretty similar. In fact, the only thing that's really the same on the Ultra is the fact that the wide angle lens is a 12 megapixel and will probably be the same lens as the other two. IP68 water and dust resistant across the board, Android 10 with One UI 2.0 across the board, as well as a clean suite of devices with Dolby Atmos stereo speakers tuned by AKG. All have microSD card expansion up to 1TB, and the internal storage is 128 on the S20 and S20 Plus and 512 on the Ultra. In terms of colours, the S20 will have grey, blue and pink options. The S20 Plus will have black, grey and blue options, and the Ultra will come in just black and grey. Let me know out of those if they are real. We're pretty sure at this stage that they are the official colours. Let me know which is your favourite. So ladies and gents, that is the S20 range. As I said earlier, I will be going to the launch. I have plenty of content coming in the pipeline for launch. Impressions, full reviews, battery comparisons, camera tests, etc. So if you want to see all of those, make sure you are subscribed to the channel. You turn on the notification bell so that when I post, you're notified. If you've got friends and family that want to know about the Galaxy S20 range and what's coming, share them this video and drop a like if you're a fan of Samsung. Just because why not? For quick latest leaks and rumours, follow my Twitter and Instagram as well. It's easy for me to post there. I love you and leave you. I'll see you in the next one. ASBYT, peace out.